Imagine, if you will, the vast, silent deserts of Mesopotamia. Thousands of years before our time, under a blanket of unimaginable stars, a civilization emerged. The Sumerians. They were pioneers, creators of the first great cities, the first writing, the first empires. But they also harbored a profound belief. A conviction that echoed across their sun-baked lands and through their earliest myths. They looked to the heavens, not just with wonder, but with a deep, ancestral memory of something else. Something that came from beyond the veil of night. They called them the Anunnaki. Not mere deities born of earth, but celestial beings. Gods who descended from the very stars themselves. Their arrival, as the stories tell, marked a turning point for humanity. A moment when divine intervention sculpted the trajectory of early civilization. But this isn't just a tale of creation. It's an intricate tapestry woven with details that, to some, suggest something far more concrete than allegory. What if these ancient accounts are not simply mythology, but something closer to historical records? Memories of cosmic encounters, passed down through generations. For centuries, these narratives have been dismissed as mere fanciful tales. The product of primitive minds attempting to explain an incomprehensible world. Yet, within the meticulous inscriptions etched into clay, upon temple walls, and in epic poems, we find details that defy simple explanation. A cosmic blueprint, perhaps. A narrative so rich, so consistent across disparate texts, that it compels us to re-examine our assumptions. The Sumerians claimed direct interaction with these beings. Not distant, abstract deities, but palpable presences. Ones who walked among them, taught them, and ultimately, profoundly influenced their destiny. Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, is often called the cradle of civilization. Here, around 4500 BCE, something extraordinary happened. Humanity took a colossal leap. From nomadic hunter-gatherers, they rapidly transitioned to complex urban societies. Suddenly, writing, organized religion, advanced agriculture, and monumental architecture appeared. It was an explosion of innovation, almost unprecedented in its speed. A cultural genesis that challenges conventional timelines of human development. Was this purely an organic evolutionary process? Or was there an external catalyst? Conventional archaeology points to a gradual accumulation of knowledge and technology. Yet, in Sumer, the leap felt abrupt. Unexplained. How did a society, seemingly overnight, develop sophisticated astronomical charts, intricate legal systems, and metallurgy so advanced for its time? Their understanding of celestial mechanics, in particular, was astounding. They mapped constellations, tracked planetary movements, and even calculated the precession of the equinoxes. Knowledge that modern science only rediscovered millennia later. A profound puzzle persists. Where did this sudden, profound wisdom truly originate? Our primary source for these extraordinary claims lies in the thousands of clay tablets unearthed from Mesopotamian ruins. Etched with cuneiform, these texts detail everything from mundane transactions to epic myths. Among them are creation narratives, flood stories, and long king lists. But intertwined with these familiar themes are descriptions of beings, unlike anything seen on Earth. Beings with immense power, superior knowledge, and an origin explicitly stated as extraterrestrial. The tablets speak of them directly. Unflinchingly. As a record of truth. According to these ancient Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki arrived on Earth from a distant celestial body. A planet often referred to as Nibiru in some interpretations. They came, not as conquerors, but as overseers, instructors, and eventually, as genetic engineers. Their initial purpose, as described, was specific: to extract valuable resources, particularly gold. A resource critical to their own planet's survival, or so the narrative implies. This audacious claim, if viewed literally, paints a picture of intergalactic mining operations. A cosmic drama playing out on our fledgling world. Initially, the laborious task of mining was performed by a lesser class of Anunnaki, known as the Igigi. But after a long and arduous period, the Igigi rebelled. They mutinied, refusing to continue their grueling work. This event, chronicled in texts like the Atrahasis, forced the senior Anunnaki to seek a solution. A new workforce was needed. One that could endure the harsh conditions and heavy labor. And this necessity, the Sumerians tell us, directly led to the most profound act attributed to the Anunnaki, the creation, or rather, the modification of humanity itself. The Sumerian creation myths, particularly the Enuma Elish, diverge significantly from later religious texts. Here, humanity isn't simply formed from clay, but engineered. The Anunnaki, led by beings like Enki and Ninti, used genetic manipulation. They took a primitive hominid, the Lulu, and fused it with the essence, the blood of an Anunnaki. A god gene, if you will. The goal, to create a servile race, intelligent enough to follow instructions, yet strong enough for labor. This Adamu, as some interpret it, was a hybrid. A being designed for a specific purpose. This divine spark injected into humanity is what, according to these myths, accelerated our evolution. It granted us consciousness, intelligence, and the capacity for language and abstract thought. A sudden jump in cognitive ability. This narrative offers a striking parallel to the concept of a missing link in human evolution, or the abrupt emergence of Cro-Magnon man. Could the Sumerians have been describing, in their own terms, a rapid evolutionary intervention? A genetic bottleneck that fundamentally altered our species? The question hangs heavy. A profound mystery at the very root of human existence. Beyond genetic manipulation, the Sumerian texts speak of Anunnaki wielding power and technology far beyond anything understood by ancient man. Chariots of fire that flew through the sky. Weapons that flashed like lightning. They describe gods wearing shining garments and residing in sky chambers. Such descriptions, to modern ears, evoke images of spacecraft, advanced weaponry, and protective suits. Are these mere poetic metaphors for natural phenomena? Or are they literal, if rudimentary, attempts to describe highly advanced technology through the limited vocabulary of an early civilization? Even the familiar tale of the Tower of Babel, though largely associated with Hebrew tradition, has deep Mesopotamian roots. It speaks of humanity striving to build a tower that would reach the heavens, a structure to commune with the gods. But the gods, angered by this ambition, confounded their language, scattering them across the earth. This story, interpreted through the Anunnaki lens, could be seen as the gods limiting humanity's reach. Preventing them from gaining access to celestial knowledge, or perhaps, from reaching their homeland among the stars. A warning, encoded in myth. Another pervasive theme across Sumerian and subsequent Mesopotamian texts is the Great Flood. Stories like the Epic of Gilgamesh and Atrahasis describe a cataclysmic deluge sent by the gods to wipe out humanity. Yet, in these versions, a select few are warned, often by the benevolent Anunnaki Enki, and commanded to build an ark. This narrative, predating the biblical account by millennia, raises profound questions. Was it a localized event elevated to myth? Or a global catastrophe, orchestrated by forces beyond human comprehension? A reminder of their power, perhaps? Following the Great Flood, the Sumerian king lists detail a lineage of rulers whose reigns extended for impossibly long periods, tens of thousands of years. These divine kings were said to have ruled directly after the flood, having been chosen by the Anunnaki. They were intermediaries, liaisons between the gods and men. This concept of divine kingship, where rulers derived their authority directly from celestial beings, became a cornerstone of Mesopotamian political and religious thought. Was this merely a clever political ploy? Or a lingering memory of actual, prolonged interactions with powerful, long-lived beings? The Anunnaki weren't just distant overseers. They were intricately involved in human affairs. They taught humanity irrigation, agriculture, writing, and metallurgy. They established laws, founded cities, and even participated in battles, sometimes on opposing sides. Their influence was ubiquitous, permeating every aspect of Sumerian life. This level of direct, sustained involvement paints a picture of beings deeply invested in the species they had, by their own account, helped to create. A profound sense of responsibility, perhaps, or a desire to cultivate a valuable asset. Some interpretations venture even further, drawing connections between the Anunnaki and specific star systems. Sirius, for instance, holds significant importance in various ancient cultures, including some Mesopotamian traditions. Its helical rising marked crucial agricultural cycles. Could the Anunnaki's star of origin be linked to such prominent celestial markers? Or are these connections merely coincidental, a result of humanity's innate tendency to find patterns in the cosmos? The search for their true home continues to fuel speculation, pointing towards a destination beyond our immediate solar neighborhood. The concept of Nibiru, a large planetary body with an elongated elliptical orbit, is central to the more literal interpretations of Anunnaki myths. Proponents suggest this 12th planet or Planet X is the true home of the Anunnaki, returning to our solar system every few thousand years. While mainstream astronomy has found no evidence of such a planet, the persistent nature of the Nibiru concept in ancient texts is striking. Is it a lost astronomical fact? Or a poetic representation of something else entirely? The mystery remains unsolved, hovering at the edge of scientific understanding. The challenge lies in interpreting these ancient texts. Are we to take them literally, as historical documents describing extraterrestrial visitation? Or are they allegorical, symbolic narratives crafted to explain the inexplicable, to provide meaning in a harsh world? Mainstream scholarship tends towards the latter, viewing the Anunnaki as personifications of natural forces or human societal structures. But what if the literal reading isn't entirely wrong? What if the line between myth and memory is far blurrier than we're comfortable admitting? A discomfort that perhaps prevents us from seeing a deeper truth. Much of the modern discourse around the Anunnaki as extraterrestrial beings stems from the work of Zecharia Sitchin. His influential books, beginning with The 12th Planet in the 1970s, translated and interpreted Sumerian texts, proposing the ancient astronaut hypothesis. Sitchin argued for a literal interpretation, suggesting the Anunnaki were indeed visitors from Nibiru who genetically engineered humanity. While highly controversial in academic circles, his theories ignited a global fascination, pushing the boundaries of conventional historical narratives. He challenged us to look differently. Academic institutions largely dismiss Sitchin's interpretations, citing linguistic inaccuracies and a lack of archaeological corroboration for his more outlandish claims. They emphasize the complex, metaphorical nature of ancient mythologies, arguing that attributing advanced technology to gods is a projection of modern understanding onto ancient belief systems. Yet, the sheer consistency of certain motifs across diverse ancient cultures, sky gods, creation by superior beings, advanced knowledge, does give pause. Is the skepticism entirely justified? Or is there a reluctance to consider possibilities that defy established paradigms? The Sumerian pantheon was rich and complex. Enlil, the god of wind and air, often seen as a stern, powerful figure. Enki, god of water, wisdom, and creation, frequently depicted as a benevolent trickster. Ishtar, goddess of love, war, and fertility. These beings possessed distinct personalities, rivalries, and even human-like flaws. If they were indeed extraterrestrial, their portrayal as emotional, fallible entities might suggest a lack of true divinity. Or perhaps, a more relatable, personal interaction with humanity than mere omnipotence would imply. Flawed, yet powerful. The Sumerians envisioned a geocentric universe, with Earth at its center, surrounded by a series of heavenly spheres. Yet, their astronomical observations were remarkably precise. They understood the cyclical nature of celestial events and even developed a sophisticated sexagesimal, base 60, number system, still used today in measuring time and angles. This blend of geocentrism with advanced observation presents a paradox. Did they simply interpret what they saw within their existing framework? Or did they possess inherited knowledge, a legacy from beings with a more accurate cosmic understanding? The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest surviving works of literature, offers invaluable insights into Sumerian perceptions of their gods. Gilgamesh, the powerful, semi-divine king of Uruk, seeks immortality, ultimately failing. His journey brings him into contact with various divine and mythical beings, including Utnapishtim, the flood survivor. The epic explores themes of life, death, and humanity's place in a world governed by powerful, often capricious, forces. It vividly portrays the Anunnaki as real, tangible figures, deeply integrated into the fabric of their world. Not abstract concepts, but potent actors. Consider the sheer speed of technological advancement in Sumer. Writing appears, seemingly fully formed. Complex metallurgy, capable of crafting intricate tools and ornaments, emerges. Monumental architecture, like the ziggurats, rises from the plains, requiring advanced engineering and organizational skills. This rapid trajectory of progress, if entirely indigenous, is unparalleled. It suggests a society that either independently innovated at an astonishing rate, or, perhaps, received a significant boost. A transfer of knowledge, direct and profound. From whom? The texts speak clearly. Sumerian art, too, presents intriguing anomalies. Depictions of figures with winged suits, or carrying strange, bag-like objects and wrist devices. Reliefs show gods offering plants, or holding cones and buckets, whose purpose remains a subject of intense debate. Are these symbolic representations of fertility and knowledge? Or are they visual records of technology and equipment that baffled the ancient sculptors? The consistency of these specific motifs, recurring across different periods and sites, suggests a shared visual language, hinting at a shared experience. A peculiar uniformity in their divine representations. The symbolism is deep, multi-layered. The tree of life, often flanked by winged figures, could be an allegorical representation of creation and genetic lineage. The star disk, a common motif, explicitly denotes a celestial origin. The pervasive presence of water, particularly the Abzu, the primordial ocean where Enki resided, might symbolize the origin of life itself, or perhaps, a watery world from which they came. These aren't just decorative elements, they are narratives, encoded in stone and clay, waiting to be deciphered. A language beyond words. Just as the Anunnaki arrived, so too did they seemingly depart. The texts speak of their eventual withdrawal from direct human affairs, leaving behind chosen kings and priests to guide humanity. Their departure often coincides with periods of great upheaval or the decline of certain Sumerian city-states. Was this a planned exit, once their objectives were met? Or a retreat, for reasons unknown? The precise circumstances remain shrouded in mystery, adding another layer to the enigma. A gradual fading from the tangible world, leaving behind only their legacy. And the questions. What legacy did they leave? A civilization that laid the groundwork for much of what we consider modern. Writing, law, agriculture, mathematics, astronomy. A profound intellectual inheritance. But also, a lingering question about our true origins. Are we entirely a product of terrestrial evolution, or is there an extraterrestrial component encoded in our very DNA? The Sumerian texts, regardless of interpretation, force us to confront these uncomfortable possibilities. To look beyond the familiar narratives and consider a universe far more complex and interconnected than we often imagine. It's not just Sumer. Similar myths of sky gods or bringers of civilization appear in cultures across the globe. The Egyptian Neteru, the Greek Olympians, the Mesoamerican Quetzalcoatl. While distinct in their specifics, the overarching theme of powerful, intelligent beings descending from the heavens to interact with and influence humanity resonates universally. Is this a mere anthropological coincidence, a pattern of human storytelling? Or could it be a collective memory, fragmented and localized, of a singular, widespread phenomenon? A shared ancient encounter, echoing through the ages. The paradox deepens. How could a civilization that invented the wheel and the plow simultaneously possess knowledge of advanced astronomy and complex genetic engineering, albeit described in metaphorical language. The Anunnaki myths present a stark contrast between the primitive tools available to early humans and the seemingly boundless capabilities attributed to their creators. This disparity creates a profound intellectual tension. It forces us to reconcile the known with the unknown, to question whether the primitive was truly primitive, or merely a reflection of our incomplete understanding. The intricacies of ancient languages, particularly cuneiform, pose a significant barrier. Nuance, idiom, and cultural context are easily lost in translation. What one scholar interprets as a literal account of space travel, another may see as a poetic description of spiritual transcendence. The challenge is immense. Yet, the persistence of certain terms and descriptions across multiple texts, sometimes even across different cultures, begs careful consideration. Could the divine word be a more literal transmission of complex information than we currently acknowledge? A code, waiting for us to unlock. The search for answers continues. Archaeologists uncover new tablets. Linguists refine their understanding of cuneiform. Astronomers scan the skies for distant worlds. Each discovery adds another piece to this immense, ancient puzzle. Perhaps, in time, a definitive answer will emerge. Or perhaps, the true value lies not in a single solution, but in the ongoing quest itself. The constant re-evaluation of our past, spurred by the tantalizing hints embedded in these primordial stories. A dialogue between the past and the future, etched in clay. Ultimately, the story of the Anunnaki forces us to confront a fundamental question: our origins. Where do we truly come from? Are we merely the accidental product of evolutionary forces, or are we the result of deliberate design, a cosmic experiment initiated millennia ago? The Sumerians, in their ancient wisdom, provided an answer. An answer so bold, so challenging, that it continues to reverberate through time, inviting us to look up at the stars and wonder if the stories of old are, in fact, the blueprint for our existence. A question echoing through the cosmos. If these myths are echoes of cosmic encounters, then our understanding of history, of religion, and of humanity's place in the universe fundamentally shifts. It opens up possibilities that stretch beyond our earthly confines. It suggests a universe teeming with life, with intelligences far older and more advanced than our own. And it hints at a profound, perhaps unsettling, truth, that we might not be alone in this vast cosmos, and perhaps, we never truly were. The implications are staggering. A paradigm shift for all of humanity. So, we return to the deserts of Mesopotamia, to the whispered tales of gods from the stars. Were the Anunnaki real beings who descended from the heavens? Or are their stories elaborate metaphors for human struggle and triumph? The answers remain elusive, hidden in the sands of time and the depths of space. But the legends persist. They compel us to reconsider. To question. To look beyond the conventional and embrace the possibility that our past is far more extraordinary, far more cosmic, than we have ever dared to imagine. A call from antiquity. The story of the Anunnaki, whether literally true or profoundly symbolic, stands as an enduring mystery. It challenges the foundations of our historical and scientific understanding. It invites us to contemplate the boundaries of knowledge and the limits of our perception. As we gaze upon the same stars that the Sumerians did millennia ago, perhaps a part of us wonders if those ancient gods, those visitors from beyond, are still watching. Still guiding. Still waiting. The cosmic secret, perhaps, is yet to be fully unveiled. The journey continues.